What's up, Spider lovers, and welcome to another episode of That 90s Spider-Man Show, where if you haven't been with us before, we talk about Spider-Man the animated series. We go through it episode by episode, and it's a doozy. I'm one of your hosts this evening, /morning/afternoon. My name's Henry, and alongside me is Jack.
Hello?
Jack's a little bit on death's door because of the whole vampirism thing, so
Yeah.
I apologise if he's a bit plasma light today.
Yeah, some people might know that there's a bit of a issue in the world right now with vampires.
Yeah.
And we're not really going to talk about that side of things too much because, you guys are maybe here to have fun, so...
I don't know, I feel like you wouldn't have fun, you go anywhere else.
I mean, yeah, all I mean is stay safe in your bunkers from the vampires. And other than that, the only vampires we'll be talking about are the ones in Spider-Man the animated series.
Oh yeah, we got everyone's first and third favourite vampire.
Yeah.
And that is Blade and Morbius. So yeah, today we're covering episode 23, that's season 2, episode 10, entitled The Immortal Vampire. But it might as well be entitled The Immortal Plot, because we're back again with Morbius, for fuck's sake.
Yep, the longest fucking character arc
Ever,
yeah.
At this point, Jared Leto showing up as Morbius would be a pleasant, welcome change. Yeah. That's how far deep we've gotten.
Yeah, the resolution of the Morbius storyline has been delayed more than the actual Morbius movie has been delayed.
Yeah. There's more clamour for this fucking plotline to end. So today we're talking about Morbius and Blade and Spider-Man. And yeah, let's get on into it. So if you were here last time, we were talking about Spider-Man swinging after Blade, declining, sadly, to get on Blade's motorcycle.
Yeah, instead just swinging overhead and trying to, I don't know, what even happened last time? Blade showed up.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, Blade showed up and he was like, I don't like vampires, and Spider-Man's like, this one's good, and then Morbius was like, no, I'm not. We're back to that shit again.
Yeah, so it's literally how last episode went. It's been a fucking travesty. So, yeah, that's when we left Spider-Man last time out, and he gave us a nice little update as to what's gone on since the last episode, which we already remember. And yeah, he says to us, oh yeah, Morbius wants to turn everyone into vampires, yada yada yada. And Blade and Spider-Man finally catch up to Morbius, who then just flies away over the river. And Spider-Man says, oh, I know where he's going. And he tells Blade to follow him, and then Blade's like, why should I trust you? And Spider-Man's like, do you know what, dude, don't. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he's got the same impatience for this plot as I do.
Yeah, so I wanted to get the shit done.
I'm sick of I'm sick of this dynamic of you not liking me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do the plot. Yeah. Do you want to come?
Well, if you don't want to come, that's fine. You can stay here.
I almost feel like this episode is can't wait to be over.
This episode is,
because a lot happens.
They're just we can't have another episode with Morbius. The Spider-Man writers were throwing themselves out of windows trying to get out of doing another Morbius episode.
Yeah.
I think I know where he's headed. Follow me.
How would you know where he's going?
All right, then don't follow me.
Oh my god. So yeah, Spider-Man swings away, Blade reluctantly follows, but watching all this go down is Detective Lee. They go to a warehouse, where Spider-Man explains that he took the chip out of the plot gun, that is the neogenic recombinator or whatever chip, and
That's the one.
And the warehouse they're at is the only place where we can get another one. So Morbius has to come here. And yeah, sure enough, he shows up and Blade does what Blade does, which is attempt to kill Vampire. Spider-Man helps him, again. This is going to be a common thread throughout this episode.
We should have actually brought the Morbius bingo in this time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much chasing back and forth, going just across the city. Blade tries to kill Morbius. Spider-Man says, don't kill him. Blade says, why did you stop me from killing him? Morbius escapes. Spider-Man says, don't worry, I know where he's going to go. They go to the place, and then they're all surprised by the same things happening again.
Ugh.
It's happened so many times now.
It's been 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah. Is that proper, stop the pigeon thing we were talking about,
Yeah. The only thing that's changed so far is that become more confident in being a vampire. So while he's fighting Spider-Man initially, Morbius says, I am the Immortal Vampire, which keen-eyed listeners will realise was actually the name of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great.
So much enthusiasm for this episode.
So much enthusiasm. Oh yeah, the only thing that's different now is Detective Lee that shows up. She's like, what the fuck's going on? And Morbius briefly picks her up and drops her and then escapes. Spider-Man runs out of web shooters, so he can't chase him this time, and they're forced to regroup. Cuts to Detective Lee pulls up in a police car. And Spider-Man immediately webs her up and goes like, okay, you're here. Let's go to Blade HQ. Where, like, Malcolm McDowell is there.
Yeah.
The only person, like, less bothered about this than anybody else.
Yeah, fucking Whistler in this. We've already had an episode of him doing the plot dump of here's every personal detail about Blade's life to Spider-Man last time, so we got his origin. And then this time it's like, oh, hey, there's a new person here. Here's everything about Blade's life.
Do you reckon they just, like, use Malcolm McDowell's dialogue because he's like, I'm not recording that shit again?
Yeah. But, like,
fucking figure it out.
But also, like, I get that they have to bring Terry up to speed and everything, but genuinely, like, I think Blade makes a comment about it earlier, like, oh, Whistler talks too much.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I'm kind of surprised how good my Blade impression was.
Have you been practicing?
No, I have not. I never practiced doing, like, voices or anything like that because that's a lie.
I don't, genuinely.
You do your D'Onofrio in the mirror every morning.
Only to get myself psyched up. For different reasons. Not for this podcast, that's just kind of happy, like, effect.
Yeah, but Blade says something like, Whistler's talking too much, and you think, yeah, he is. This woman comes in like a policeman, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll tell you about the first time Blade masturbated. And it's like, oh, no one asked you to like go into this. You're just like airing its dirty laundry.
Yeah. He's like that really overly proud parent. Oh, look at Blade's baby photos.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at this little Blade wiener. Here he is in the tub.
Whistler talks too much.
Lee finds out vampires exist. Her world is not rocked at all.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, what the fuck? And then I guess she's soothed by the idea that it turns out Blade is also a vampire.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow.
We'll get to that. Yeah, Whistler shows up again, but he's got like another plot gun, this time to incapacitate vampires. And Lee finds out Blade's vampire at this point, and there's a little bit of electricity between her and Blade.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a spark between her and Blade. That's gonna come up a lot.
Nowhere.
Out of fucking nowhere. She goes from like terrified of vampires to horny.
One of the few things I remembered about this show from watching it when I was younger, that Terry gets involved at some point and then some sort of romantic thing starts up, but I didn't know that it was all in this episode.
It's all in one episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that happens again at some point in the show, but it does progress quite quickly.
Like, insanely quickly. Oh, God, we'll get to it. So, Spider-Man goes home, and his Spider-Man sense immediately goes off his spider sense. His spider sense goes off. He calls over to his room, and he realises Morbius is just wrecking his shit. And Aunt May somehow hasn't realised that someone's tearing apart her, like, nephew's room. She's asleep in the living room.
Yeah.
God damn Aunt May. And yeah, Spider-Man declines to fight him in his bedroom because he'll wake up Aunt May, but we know he won't. Morbius flies off. Spider-Man realises that he needs more of, like, his superpowered blood to make the gun work.
There's like a million different MacGuffins in this episode.
There's too many fucking MacGuffins.
I thought Morbius was meant to be a good scientist. He just needs to find all this shit that other people have made to get it to work.
He's fucking editing this entire thing.
There's a whole, like, Morbius fetch quest video game happening in the background of this season.
Yeah, there is.
Getting all the pieces of the Triforce.
And then, yeah, like, fighting off Spider-Man and Blade at different times.
Yeah, and this plotline is about as fun as the Triforce fetch quest from Wind Waker, for those that have played it.
Actually, I'd say the sailing was kind of fun, so it's probably worse than the one in Wind Waker.
Yeah, that's true.
There's, like, some novelty in the sailing. And the art style is, like, makes it, like, a bit more interactive, and, like, it's just...
Oh, yeah, Wind Waker in general. Wind Waker's amazing, but that one fetch quest sucked ass.
Like, it was, like, enough to stop me from playing the game for a long time.
Yeah, that and my fucking memory card getting corrupted.
Ugh. I wish we could talk about the Wind Waker instead of this episode.
Yeah, let's do that.
Alright, so, cut to the Daily Bugle, where a security guard mysteriously disappears behind a door. And as he does that, we see a white arm take him in. As that happens, JJ and Robbie Robertson walk around the corner, being like, where the fuck is Peter Parker?
Yeah, it's just disappeared off the face of the earth again.
Yeah, after just, like, the man-spider thing happening. And they walk up to the door, and the security guard is, like, fainted in front of them. And Morbius is inside, and he threatens JJ, being like, where's Peter Parker? And JJ's like, fuck if I know.
Yeah.
And, yep.
More fucking spinning wheels.
Yep. Morbius leaves, and Peter walks in, and everyone's like, what the fuck, Peter? And JJ's like, why don't I fire you right now? And Peter's like, well...
I'll get a picture of a vampire for you.
And then at this point, you kind of realize that, like, Peter's missed, like, the man-spider thing. He missed the whole, like, Ninja plot, like, from, like, Peter Parker's perspective. He just disappeared. And he really should be fired. Like, imagine if your job was, like, to work for, like, a newspaper and you were like, oh, sorry, I missed the coronavirus epidemic.
Yeah, I forgot that he was on staff. Yeah, because there's various points in the comics when he's, like, either freelancing or he's actually a staff photographer. And I just assumed he was freelance at this point. And then when you realise he's meant to be on staff every day, you're like, okay, you fucked up.
Yeah. I'm surprised he's not fired. That's like breach of contract. JJ could sue him.
Yeah, and he probably would.
But yeah, Peter's like, he thinks on his feet, he's like, I'll get you a picture of the immortal vampire. And JJ's like, okay, fine. And Peter says, just one more thing. And we cut to Peter in this like rickety ass like Daily Bugle like van. It looks like shit.
Again, this is also pointless.
This is also fucking pointless.
Blade has a van, doesn't he?
I think so.
Oh no, that's Punisher.
That's Punisher.
Blade could get a van.
Blade doesn't want to get a van. Blade's too cool for a van. He's got this...
He literally get a van because the only way of travelling he has is a motorbike.
Yeah, but it's not as cool. No van can travel up, like, walls. Imagine going to, like, a Honda dealership and the guy's like, oh yeah, can I travel up walls? No. Well, get out of here.
So he grabs this, like, van that has, like...
JJ's face in it.
And the headline, is Spider-Man a vampire?
Yeah.
Which, funnily enough, has happened in the comics as well as a headline.
Yeah.
And, obviously, complete nonsense. And he has to drive around with this humiliating shit on the side.
Yeah.
And then he starts up a new plan, which is kind of shown to us like a heist in that we don't know what's going on
until like it's already happening. So yeah, Peter like drives up to his house, and when he gets to his house, MJ's there being like, where the fuck have you been again?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, this episode. And long story short, Peter like realizes that Morbius is like on top of his roof again, and this time he like, instead of explaining what's going on, he again tells MJ to fuck off effectively by saying, I want to date the Felicia. She storms off in her huff. So Morbius shows up and says, give him some blood, Peter. And Peter's like, what the fuck? Who are you? Pretending that he doesn't know it's Morbius. Yeah. A bit of a back and forth. And Spider-Man goes to him like, oh yeah, I've got some blood right here. In this windowless van. Just come over here. And shockingly, there's no blood in the van.
Yeah.
It turns out like the plot gun, the Whistler kind of showed everyone a bit earlier, is inside there. Blade sets it off. And Morbius is kind of like shocked and incapacitated for a little bit.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, as Peter Parker, takes a moment to take a picture to save his job, apparently, because that's all he had to do. He's such a terrible worker. And
such a minimal effort that he has to put in at this point.
To keep his job when he's only just about doing it.
God, he's such a dum-dum. He's
such
a dum-dum with Mary Jane as well.
Yeah.
He's like, the only way I can get rid of her is to pretend that I'm in love with another woman.
Like, how do you possibly go from that to that?
Just be like...
There's a goddamn vampire on the roof.
Yeah, or just like, I feel really sick, I gotta go. Or just be like, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you right now.
I'm going through some shit.
Yeah, just anything apart from...
the worst possible thing you could say.
Yeah.
You just might as well call her fat.
It's just self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
To the point that he's just such a dum-dum.
He's such an asshole.
It's not even an asshole. He's like accidentally an asshole because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Like
he's like malignantly dumb.
I don't know. It's like just a destructive stupidity, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd like to say it's well-meaning, but I don't think there's any meaning.
No, it's just like the first thing that's going to his head.
There's only thought process. He's gone back to like stupid Peter from the start of season 1.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, how is this guy a scientist?
How is this guy like a super smart superhero? How has he kept his identity a secret this long? Because everyone's just like making like excuses for him and giving him the easy out.
Yeah, it's just like Forrest Gumped his way into university.
Yeah. Into being Spider-Man. My uncle always used to say, life is like a box of chocolates.
Oi. Where are we going next?
Anywhere but next into
so Morbius gets loose pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
The gun runs out of juice.
Something like that. And then Aunt May, like, right on cue, is like, what's going on around here?
And this fucking vampire there.
Yeah, and she gets kidnapped. Of course she does.
Yeah.
And then, like, Morbius flies off saying, like, give me the blood, dude, or I'll eat your aunt, or some shit. He goes, fuck.
And then he shakes his fist at the moon.
Yeah. Morbius! It's fucking lame. Now we go to... Now, back to Blade and Detective Lee, who are talking about this photo of, like, Blade's mother that she finds. She says, like, 2 sentences and Blade is really upset because she's like, yeah, what about your dead mom? What about her? And Blade is like, what the fuck?
She has no ties. She did this last episode
Yeah.
as well, just, like, talking shit to people she doesn't know.
Yeah. And with very sensitive subjects. And then she's like, oh, okay, be cool, let's be cool. And then she's like, they kiss. You're like, okay, fine, whatever. We need another subplot in this bullshit. Let's throw it in.
Sure.
Why not? But Spider-Man is like as done with this as we are, and he's like, what the fuck, guys? An old lady just got kidnapped, you're fucking on the floor.
Yeah, and he's clearly, like, way more aggro now because it's his aunt.
Yeah.
And they, again, have another one of
Fight.
their, like
couples fights where they're like, you know they're gonna break up very, very soon, and this is the breakup fight.
Yeah, and it starts off with Spider-Man being like, hey, why aren't you working well as a team?
Yeah.
And then ends with him saying, fuck the team, and leaving.
And just swings off. And they're both going their separate ways. And then we go to Morbius' secret hideout, where we find out he's drugged Aunt May, and because he ate the security guard earlier, he has nothing to feed.
Yeah.
So that's good for Aunt May, I guess.
He spends this entire episode unconscious.
Yeah.
Either from Morbius's vampire drugs or from, like, you know, the wine that she blacked out on earlier watching Antique Roadshow or whatever the fuck.
You know she's a raging alcoholic. She has to be
sure.
a raging alcoholic.
Yeah, I mean...
That's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah, Aunt May's a raging alcoholic. Morbius is able to use his plot gun finally. And he's able to repair it because he puts the chip in. He's
right,
like,
yeah.
He doesn't need the blood at all, apparently.
Oh, he gets the blood from the university.
Oh.
Because Peter's like, you can find it in my locker. The place where you found it the first time?
Yeah.
Like 5 million episodes ago.
Maybe we always forgot because it was that long ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, he knows just who to use it on first. Cuts to Felicia Hardy's apartment where Spider-Man's already there because he knows that Morbius will come here first. But he's distracted because he sees MJ and Harry Osborn on a date.
Yeah, and he just completely stops paying attention.
Yeah. And you see him go like, what the fuck, Harry? And then like you see Morbius fly over his head.
Harry's definitely pretending he doesn't know that Peter and MJ are like a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just not know that your friend has been, like, dating someone for, like, months at this point, maybe?
Let's say, like, conservative, but about a month.
Yeah. And they'd be doing that, and then he's like... He says, so how come you're saying yes now after I've asked you out all these other times before? And it's like, you were persistently asking her out while she was dating your best friend.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
And MJ's like, well, I guess I needed like a little bit of a push, I guess. And they make out and she's like hating herself all the way through it because this guy sucks.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Peter understands the situation because... the rest of this episode would lead you to think he's too stupid to understand that them kissing means they're together.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking Donbot in Futurama when Bender keeps like making out with his girlfriend and he's like, now I'm getting suspicious.
There's something going on between those two. Yeah.
Peter doesn't deserve shit in this episode.
He deserves nothing but misery.
Yeah, he deserves to, like, you know, put his aunt to bed after she's drank too much whiskey.
Yeah.
You know, that's the life he gets.
Yeah, this is the life he deserves. And only just. He deserves worse, really. But yeah, so he's thrown off his game, and then the next thing you hear is Felicia Hardy scream because Morbius has kidnapped her. Yeah. And Spider-Man says, I'm too late! When you know he was on time, he was early.
He was literally just watching her window and still fucked up.
Yeah. That stuff fucking sucks this time. This is the final battle time. We're there, guys. It takes place in a shipyard, which turns out to be Morbius' secret base. Blade and Terry like arrive at the same time because you know they've been fucking all the way through. Yeah, they arrive and then Terry walks over a flimsy piece of wood on the boardwalk leading up to it.
Yeah,
and Blade has to save her, and Blade's like, he made this on purpose. He knows we're here.
Yeah.
And then like they do nothing about that. They just walk straight in like, what's gonna happen? And Blade is immediately tackled by Morbius, but this time Blade is able to overpower him, incapacitates him with his chain, and is about to kill Morbius, but then Terry is like, yada yada yada, your mother, humanity, and Blade's like, you're right, I shouldn't kill him, Then Spider-Man shows up, like, being like, don't kill him, Blade!
Yeah, and just, again, like, right on the tail end of, like, fucking up, comes in and fucks up again by, like, wiping Blade out.
Yeah. And letting him run free. Jesus. So yeah, Morbius is able to escape. He turns on the plug gun. And Felicia is like, don't do it, Morbius. And she explains to him that Morbius is no longer the man that she loved. Because she says to him, verbatim, you are a plague. Morbius
Bad
is...
breakup.
Yeah. It's a pretty harsh line.
Yeah.
Morbius is sad now. But Spider-Man and Blade burst in and fight, which somehow, like, sets off the plug gun, so it's, like, slowly going towards Felicia.
Yeah.
About turning
Which
around.
is a good tense setup, I think.
Yeah. This plot gun, like, needs to be on a more sturdy harness, because this happens 2 or 3 times in, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, it's about to, like, turn Felicia into a vampire, but Morbius stands in front of it, sacrificing himself for the sake of the woman he loves. It would have been really, really, like, resonant and, like, cool, like, 4 episodes ago. But
yeah, or
here
if
we
he'd
are.
had any interaction, really, with Felicia in this episode, other than...
Kidnapping her.
Yeah, and also this very, very quick conversation they have where she's just like...
You're a plague, bitch.
Yeah, but not just that, but, like, you know, this isn't something that the Morbius I knew would do, you know?
Yeah.
You've completely changed, and him sort of realising, like, oh, this person I've been trying to get this whole time doesn't want me like this. Yeah. And... that would be good if, like, maybe, like, he'd kidnapped her at the start of the episode or something. And
or,
then
like, 3 or 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, and they just, like, it was more building. But, like, Felicia's been, like, lying on the same sofa, blaming Spider-Man for, like, the last, 4 episodes.
She's done fuck all.
But he's now hit by the neogenic plot gun and hits his full-time transformation, right, into Calamity Jared.
Into Man-Bat, effectively.
Is that the official thing we're going with?
I'm going with Man-Bat, even though, like, DC Horror can try and sue me for it.
I mean, Man-Bat is an actual DC villain, you know?
It looks a lot like it's Man-Bat, or like a gargoyle or something like that.
Yeah, I think we should go with Calamity Jared.
Calamity Jared.
Because I don't think anyone's taken that.
No.
And if you want to find out
what Calamity Jared comes from,
you watch our Morbius episode right at the start of this godforsaken arc.
All the way back in 2017.
Before this neogenic nightmare began.
Yeah. Nightmare is the word. Anyway, Morbius grabs Spider-Man and like flies away with him, but Blade grabs onto him. There's a little like funny sequence of them flying around, which is great.
Like all sat on each other's shoulders, like
3 Stooges. Like,
yeah.
The Benny Hill theme plays in the background. Okay, and they fly around for a bit, and they knock the gun. Same with Felicia, into Aunt May's path this time, who's still like passed out in her like alcoholic coma, and Spider-Man's like trapped in Morbius' like strong thighs, and he's like, "Come on, Spider Strength, you gotta save me now."
This somehow has something to do with Uncle Ben.
Yeah, and I was at the time
he does say actually, right, like you can't let Aunt May go in the same way that Uncle Ben did. And you're like...
That's not how Uncle Ben went.
Did Uncle Ben get turned into a bat?
Or to a vampire.
Did he get turned into a vampire? Is that...
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen Uncle Ben's death yet, right?
No. We know what happened. We know that the carjacker came along, right? The robber.
But
we don't know what he did.
Maybe he got shot by a vampire gun.
Yeah, maybe he had the vampire gun. Or he was a vampire.
Well, yeah, or he had the neogenic recombinator.
Yeah. Or just a regular vampire just bit Uncle Ben. But yeah, like, there's a bit of like almost like an homage, but it's not an homage. It's like they rip off like the comic book thing where it's like Spider-Man has to use his strength to get out of a situation to save Aunt May.
Yeah.
But like instead of like a giant building, it's this like bat monster's powerful thighs, and he bursts free and he swings away and he saves Aunt May at the nick of time. Yay! He kind of like drops on the ground, and Felicia's like, "What happened to Morbius?" And Spider-Man's like,
He's gone forever.
He's gone forever. He'll never be human again." And Felicia is upset.
Yeah, and then Spider-Man's like, yeah, this is awkward.
I'm
sorry, this is almost entirely my fault.
Well, yeah, my bad. So yeah, cut to Blade and Terry, who say goodbye, even though Terry's immediately like, just go on a date, vampire hunter, and I met...
Let's go to the movies, she says. To fucking Blade.
Fucking Blade.
And he's like...
Yeah.
I was going to do a Blade voice, I've lost my confidence.
Yeah.
What about 2 for 1? Tuesdays.
I've got that Meerkat Mondays deal. I got my insurance with the compare the market.
Is MoviePass still a thing?
So they don't go on a date. The official line from Blade is he doesn't want to see Eric Holland. But we know it's because, like, Terry's already, like, super clingy with him after 2 days.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Yeah. As he leaves, she's like, I can't believe I fell in love with a vampire. And you're like, you met him, like, yesterday.
Yeah, maybe not
He's
even
part
yesterday.
of your... He's like an active member of, like, an investigation you're working on.
Do we even know that more than an evening has passed?
They've banged once.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. You'd hope. But yeah, like, Terry Lee's already fallen in love with him. Blair's not ready to settle down. Got some serious mummy issues.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man takes Aunt May home. Like, she's like, Peter, is that you? And Spider-Man, in full Spider-Man garb, goes, yes, it is I, Peter, your nephew. Don't open your eyes, whatever you do.
Yeah, I think he does this all the time because he's used to her being so drunk she can't see shit.
Yeah.
He's just wearing the costume around
constantly.
the house.
It's like eating, like, noodles in it. It's like, Peter, did I see you in a Spider-Man costume yesterday? No, Aunt May, you were drunk again.
Yeah. But, yeah, so he just passes off this traumatic... He just gaslights her, basically.
He gaslights her.
Yeah, you made it all up in your stupid old brain.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. Sleep tight. So Spider-Man does this whole, like, end of episode, like, eulogy. He's like, oh yeah, Felicia and Morbius were so in love. I wonder where Morbius is now. And it turns out Morbius is in a fucking cave in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, he's gone full bat, and he's clearly got enough of his brain left that he's, like, sad about it and still thinking about Felicia, but he's like, bye-bye now.
I'm a bat now.
Yeah, bye Felicia for good.
Bye Felicia for good. Bye Felicia. And hopefully we can say goodbye to him too, because this is the end of the episode.
Yeah, and, yeah.
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 Christ alive.
Goodbye, Felicia.
Okay, so what do you think of this episode of Spider-Man the Animated Series?
This is my favourite episode of the whole show so far.
What is that?
Well, okay, first things first. If this is anyone's first episode for whatever reason...
Terrible idea.
Yeah, but also, if this is where you're jumping in, I swear I do like this show. But this was just terrible. And I think part of it is that the episode doesn't have that much going on and it's quite repetitive. In fact, I would say maybe this is even actually better than the last episode we did, the Blade episode. Because sort of there's more going on. And there's more like character development and stuff. But we've been going through this Morbius shit for so long that every single thing that happened, it's like the 20th time it's happened.
I'm just so tired of it.
Yeah, I'm just so tired of it. And until he turns into a giant, until he does his like Pokemon Mega Evolution into like the proper like Batman bat.
Yeah. He finally hits level 36.
Yeah, once he upgrades and goes full Calamity Jared, I'm like, okay, now I'm interested.
Yeah.
And I like the setup.
Something's happening.
Yeah, and I like the setup of like when the gun is spinning around and it's like Spider-Man's got to get back to it to stop it and stuff like that. That's cool, but everything else was just like more of the same. And I'm so relieved that they have to move on now.
Yeah.
And I'm still assuming that Morbius is going to come back at some point, but like at least we'll have at least one episode with no Morbius.
Yeah, at least one. For the love of God, one episode without fucking Morbius. And yeah, I kind of feel like, no, I was going to say feel the same, but I feel just mostly relief.
Yeah.
I just want to be done with Morbius for a little bit. And this episode got to be like brief respite from the fucking vampires of today. Like you, I was a bit like, why the fuck are we still here? Blade is somehow worse than he was last episode.
Yeah, I do kind of like the Terry thing, even though it's rushed. I like
it's something new.
Someone coming in and sort of making him question like whether he should get more in touch with his humanity or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, like the Felicia and Morbius stuff, that should have been like more of a focus for longer.
Yeah.
Rather than all this running around. And
it's a plot thing thrown into another like already bloated plot-wise episode.
Yeah.
Why were there so many of these episodes about Morbius?
One thing I will say about this episode, that has one of my favourite lines from the show.
Oh, yes, because, so for a bit of Net 90 Spider-Man show history, the podcast was actually originally going to be called Knowing Spider-Man Does Not Make You Cool, before we realised it's an SEO nightmare.
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the line happens in this episode.
Yeah.
And I'll play the clip now.
I'm Peter Parker. Spider-Man sent me.
He does know Spider-Man. He's cool.
Knowing Spider-Man does not make him cool.
Just hear me out.
What a great clip, Jack.
Yeah, I just summoned it into this podcast with my brain. But yeah, so that line is hilarious. And I think I'd seen it on YouTube or something, and I found it really funny. And I was like, can we get some way to like make this part of our title? Or like, there was one time when I made a theme tune that included that line, like as a voiceover in it.
Yeah. Like, our original theme tune for that 90s Spider-Man show was a copyright nightmare, but it was great.
Yeah. Maybe I'll release that soon to our Patreon listeners.
We should mention we've got a Patreon page. We just stop the episode entirely, just go talk about Patreon.
Yeah, we haven't actually got a Patreon
We
page.
do.
It sounds like we're joking, but we do.
This is not a bit we're doing. We generally have a Patreon page.
We have a lot more to talk about than this fucking episode.
Yeah. We talk about the actual good Blade.
Yeah, we talk about Blade 2. And by this point, I'm assuming we'll have our Blade 3, our Blade Trinity retrospective out there as well. And then we'll have more bonus episodes in the future as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we end up talking about the Patreon early because there's not really much to say about this episode, right?
Yeah, like...
A giant man-bat is cool. I would have liked to have seen man-bat versus man-spider.
That would have been something.
You know, the natural enemies in in nature.
Yeah, the top of the food chain, battling it out. King of the monsters.
There's always a three-way fight between spiders, bats, and goblins.
Yeah. They go into the jungle, folks. It's a real goblin-like nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, I know you say you didn't like it, but you mainly said like you felt relief. Would you put this at the bottom of the pile, or
I don't like the Terry Lee stuff. Kind of like makes this the second worst episode of the series, rather than the worst.
And what's the worst?
The Blade episode.
Oh, okay, I think so too, but I don't know if it's just like both of those episodes had the fatigue of the Morbius stuff, and that if you were to sort of revisit them out of context, you'd get more. You know, at least the Blade stuff was kind of new last time,
but it sucks.
Yeah.
Like, no one gives a shit. Like, Spider-Man's angry through this entire episode because he wants it to end. Fucking Malcolm McDowell's like, man, give me my check. He's probably, like, recording it on the toilet, for all we know. While we're using dialogue from the last episode.
Literally phoning it in.
Yeah.
I mean...
You listen one take, and that's it. Yeah.
You know what? There's so little to this episode that I don't even have much fucking comic book origins for you. You know, you're talking about Man-Bat, right?
Yeah.
Who I don't know a huge amount about, but a scientist tragically turns himself into a giant bat creature.
As you do.
And that's the Batman villain.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, earlier today I was reading Untold Tales of Spider-Man, which is a 90s comic.
I wish this tale was untold.
Untold Tales of Spider-Man is this 1995 series which harkens back to the early days of Spider-Man, obviously. Like Untold Tales, so it's like a way of having more teenage stories. And from what I've read so far, it's actually quite good. And the second issue has a character in it called Batwing. And Batwing is a giant vampire, like in this episode. But it has nothing to do with Morbius. It's just this giant monster that's fucking shit up. And then Spider-Man tracks it down, and it turns out it's actually a small child that is transformed into it.
Oh my god, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's basically this child was like on some sort of expedition with his father in like these caverns where there's been some toxic waste dumped. And then like they like loses the father, and then like gets lost in the caves, and then ends up drinking the water to like survive. This like 5-year-old turns into a big bat creature.
Well, that's kind of
and then it's kind of homeless. And I think, as far as I know, I haven't finished that series yet, but it comes up multiple times because the cool thing in this issue is that Spider-Man's trying to catch this bat monster so that the public like him. because everyone hates him. And he's tracking it down for this like councilman who's like he offers his services to. But at the end, they're gonna like kill this bat thing, and Spider-Man sort of makes the choice to let it go because he knows it's a child and he doesn't want it killed. And he's like, the press will find out that it's a child soon, but right now I just need to break my word to this guy. And then the guy's like, well, fuck you. I'll never trust you again. Spider-Man's like, yeah, fuck you, pal. And leaves. So it's kind of a cool storyline for him. But, I mean, that version of a giant bat is more interesting than a giant bat Morbius in this.
Anything Morbius is inherently less interesting than the original.
I'm so surprised. Like, I remember, like, not liking Morbius enough that when they announced that they were going to do a movie a while back, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, who cares about Morbius?
I agree.
But then I started thinking, like, why do I not like Morbius? And I started reading more of the comics, and I'm like, he's kind of okay in the comics, and he's not, like, amazing, but, like, I kind of like the design, and he's cool to come up now and then, and I like how he plays into, like, the supernatural side of the Marvel Universe. And then we started rewatching these episodes, and I'm like, oh, this is why I don't like Morbius. Because I think even as a kid, I was like, fuck this noise. Like, it's so drags on for so long.
So excruciating.
You were so right when you said it's the Immortal story.
Just won't die. Like, I reckon there's more Morbius episodes than there are episodes of Dr. Octopus in the show.
Yeah, that is mad in itself, right?
That's like, incredible.
Of all the things, why Morbius? And I understand that we've also had, like, Man, Spider, and Punisher, and Blade turn up. But there's still, like, 2 Morbius-focused episodes, and then other ones where he's kind of a plot focus that gets derailed, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Almost any other Spider-Man villain would have been.
Any other?
Yeah, like any of the...
Fucking Big Wheel would have been better than this shit. I would rather 6 episodes with
well,
Big Wheel.
Let's not go too far.
I would rather.
But, like, I mean, Sandman never turns up in this show, but we got, like, a billion Morbius episodes.
Yeah. Got 2 Hobgoblin ones. We got, like, fucking Scorpion would be better than this. Or just 5 episodes of just him fucking with JJ be better than this. Personally,
I just hope that this isn't the quality of the show going forward, that it isn't these, like, overlong storylines that are super repetitive.
Yeah.
Because it probably could, because, like, enough cool stuff happens in these episodes that, like, I think, like, kids would be interested still. So I'm hoping it's not a case of, like, I'm just too old for this shit now, Danny Glover style.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
That would be kind of a bummer. But the thing is, like, most of these episodes, it's only really been the last 2 episodes that I've just, like...
Just given up the world to live.
Yeah. I know we've got some crazy shit to come.
We do have we have some wild shit coming.
Yeah.
And the best part of this is no Morbius to be seen. And the thing that,
Don't speak too soon.
Let me have this. The thing for me is that, like, I know there's 5 seasons of this, and I know if there was, like, a whole 3.5 seasons of whatever just happened with Morbius, they were going to cancel after, like, a season and a half.
Well, you'd like to think that, right? But this Morbius movie is going to make $1 billion, and you're going to eat your hat. You're going to start wearing a hat and then eat it.
I will probably, just to numb the pain, I'll probably eat that hat.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to throw myself off a building, and in the meantime, let's end the episode of this podcast, because I don't want to talk about Morbius anymore.
Yeah, and we'll never say that name ever again.
Ever again. Apart from the time we had to talk about the movie. And when he inevitably reappears in this show. In the meantime, why not check out our Patreon feed, like we said. We've got some Blade stuff coming up.
We got some Blade stuff out currently.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess by now we would have, yeah. So yeah, we can talk about Blade, talk about good vampires.
Yeah, we talk about all the Blade movies. We got more retrospectives coming up on there. Plenty of bonus episodes if you turn up and give us, like, literally anything, to support us, because, I don't know, a few minor things we spend money on for this podcast. So if you like it, do that, or at least give us, like, a positive review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this.
Just, help us help you. Help us make more money. Kidding. Kidding. We're not making any money doing this. But yeah, check out our Patreon feed and tune in for the next episode of the show. Follow us on social media.
Yeah, we swear that we're normally so much more positive than this.
Like, Morbius has sucked the energy out of us.
Yeah, once again.
Wow. that brings us to the end of episode 23 of That 90s Spider-Man show. Any last words, Jack?
For like a tiny serious note for a second, these are weird times, so everyone keep yourself healthy, stay safe, and make sure like you're treating yourself good mentally as well, because that's super important.
Yeah.
And if that means listen to this podcast, then that's amazing, but find something better to do as well, because this can't be the only thing contributing to your mental health.
Do not watch the Morbius arc of this series. Do not do it.
Yeah, just listen to us, and then we'll tell you when it's safe to go to go back. We
the
won't tell you when
fucking
it's
show.
safe to go outside, though, because that's for professionals.
Yeah, for like trained like scientists. We're just people who watch a TV show and talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's us. Thanks very much for tuning in. And remember, you probably need more than a couple of days to get to know your vampire boyfriend. Good night, everyone. Have a good one. Go about your lives.
What's the use snickering, floppy-eared hound? When courage is needed, you're never around. Those medals you wear on your morphing chest should be there for bungling at which you are best. So stop the pigeon, 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 stop the pigeon. Ow! Nab him, jab him, tab him, grab him, stop that pigeon now! You silly, stop sneaking, it's not worth a chance. Or you'll be returned by the seat of your pants. And clump, you invent me a thingamabob that catches that pigeon or I lose my job. So